proud of. That's why I'm sharing it. That brings us to our next panel, which is a continuation of our discussion, and it is led by someone who's got operational excellence experience. Ankita Wadehra, who's the Vice President of Operational and Process Excellence from Swiss Re, and she's got a lot of experience in insurance and reinsurance sector across operations, strategy, consulting, and she's a thought leader in reinsurance market, and she'll be leading this panel, where we'll also be joined by Gaurav Sharma from Bajaj Allianz, who's flown down from Pune to join us, and also Surya, who was a keynote before, and they will talk about digital transformation. The key points I think they're going to touch on is the loyalty and building trust aspect with the digital age that we are in. So this will also cover the operational excellence aspect of it, and Ankita will lead it. Please join me on stage, Ankita. Big round of applause for Ankita. I leave the stage to you in your capable hands. Please take it from here.
I'd also like to invite my co-panelists.
Please, Surya, Gaurav.
Okay, so not the best time for a session, I would say. Lunch, a session after lunch, another session after lunch, and then we come to this panel discussion, and the most awaited tea break after lunch is right after this session. But what we're going to do is we're going to try make it as engaging as possible. So, a bit of introduction about me before I move on to my panelists. So, as Shaumin was explaining, I'm in the business of reducing mudas. So yes, I'm an operational excellence consultant, and when you talk about operational excellence, digital transformation is something that you cannot get away with. So that is a very important aspect of what I do and I have been doing. Now, briefly before moving on to my panelists for this discussion, talking about how the last 10 years, the decade has been in terms of digital transformation for the BFSI industry. I think broadly we can categorize it into three parts. First part, I would say somewhere around up till 2018, where we were highly talking about automation. We were talking about RPAs, we were talking about chatbots, we were talking about digital processes. And then came in the phase of artificial intelligence, which is actually continuing till now. Today we got to hear so much about AI, Gen AI, and now agentic AI. So that is a phase that continues, and the focus was there up till 21. Of course, it continues now. And now where we are headed is calling insurance as a service. So we're talking about embedded insurance. Of course, I here primarily speak about insurance, as that is the industry from where I come. But this is how the future is looking, and this is where we currently stand. Now, when we say insurance as a service, what exactly do we mean by it? Primarily here we are talking about your wearables, the technologies, the embedded insurance. So today you go and buy a Tesla, you will automatically have a motor insurance that covers it. Then you're talking about dynamic pricing. I don't want to be charged for my insurance throughout the year. I want to be charged only for the time I'm using the product, say for example my car. So these are the innovations that are now paving the way for revolution in the insurance industry, broadly in the BFSI space. With that, I would like to extend this conversation to maybe first Gaurav and understand your views as to how this decade has been and what do we foresee happening more in the insurance industry.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks, Ankita. Just taking the discussion ahead, as you said, what is the future of insurance?
Yeah.
So in India, we all know that future of insurance is very bright because we are one of the most lowly penetrated country. While the world average is around 7%, we are still hovering around 3.5 or at max 4% we reached at one point of time. So when we have lot to do, there will always be a sense of catching up with the world as well as within our economy. But since we were growing and the insurance was a matter of discussion in household, I would say unfortunately thanks to the pandemic, people were more talking on the health insurance piece because they somehow understood the importance of having a health insurance. But having said that, now that we grow, as an economy and as well as an insurance sector, as Ankita, you said, embedded insurance is something which is on the horizon, and many of the companies are already tying up with the e-commerce partners for selling embedded insurance. Another 2-3 things which are coming on the horizon is, one is on the parametric insurance, the climate-based insurance, incident-based insurance. We at Bajaj Airlines, we also have a couple of such insurances which are climate-based or incident-based. We also have come up with a telematics-based insurance which is used for motor vehicles. Having said that, there are couple of things which we see happening in insurances. The advent of AI is somehow being used prudently in insurance sector to help the customers to understand the customers better. So because what AI does is, it is now giving an insight into the personality of the customers, what kind of customer it is, whether it is a safe customer as far as motor is concerned, or it is a healthy customer as far as health is concerned. So it is giving a lot of insights to the insurance providers to ascertain the predictability of claims, and which was not possible some, I think, 5 years before. We were not having those kind of in-depth insights coming out of systems. We had to do a lot of data crunching and deep diving to understand the customer behavior, which has become easier now, and which led by Bajaj, I think all the insurance companies are doing those kind of analysis and pitching the right customer with the right products.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Bajaj, and I was speaking to you earlier that how in the entire insurance industry, Bajaj is one company where all the consultants really look forward to because of the innovations that they come up with, especially in terms of embedded insurance and your Bajaj FinServ, how the ecosystem has been tied up to make sure that insurance can be made available via a lot of mediums which are more like an everyday buy or an everyday activity for a lot of people. Now, thank you for that, Gaurav. Moving on to you, Surya. So we were talking about insurance. I would also like to, get your thoughts on how the banking industry has transformed in the last few years, and where do you see this going ahead of you?
I will again refer back to my intro note where I mentioned that as a child, how I was fascinated with the idea that you tell a word and you get money. It was like a magic to me. So digital banking has the revolution, it has come a long way, and it still has a very long way going. And the major shift, or I will say the latest trend, what is going to be in future, or those players can stay in the future, are the ones who focus on the customer. I think Suresh in the morning, he mentioned when he was giving presentation about DigiYatra, it was all about the customer's experience. Even the slightest pain point or the slightest change can impact the entire customer experience. The same majority of the banks are trying, whether it is global bank or the banks in India, they are trying to give the customer an omni-channel experience. Like earlier, my savings bank is something different, then my credit card is something different. Even though it is in the same bank, there is a separate platform for that, then there is an app. So there are multiple ways to operate it, but giving an omni-channel experience and giving a consistent experience, a very positive experience, is something majority of the banking players are focusing on. And it does not start where you start logging into your system. It starts from where you drive into the bank and park your car. If you are not finding a parking spot, your customer experience goes for a toss. So that is the nitty-gritty, that is all those small details. If you are doing a transaction and 1 out of your 10 transaction is falling for whatever reason, you can give 10 reasons, as Somin was telling, my server was down, this was there. No, that's just prevent all such things. So my focus, as I will say that moving from a very old regime, or like focusing on an omni-channel customer experience and a very positive customer experience. It is not just that I'm able to transfer the fund from one account to other account. It has to be seamless and it has to be a very positive. That is the major shift going to.
Now talking about omni-channel experience, I think, Gaurav, even in insurance, that is a term that we've been talking a lot about, how we can ensure our customer, if they've logged in maybe a request or a complaint via one channel, how that information flows to other channels so that next time when that person is speaking to an insurance representative, they have the same information that was shared earlier, and the customer does not necessarily have to repeat that information again and again. So where do we stand in that evolution, in insurance today?
I think what, as per my experience in my company, what we have done is at the front end it is always now with the bots. Yeah. So there are bots, and now the bots are also becoming smarter with the AI advent. So the first touch point with the customers will be a bot for standard queries, and when it becomes to more complex queries, there is a seamless transition to a person sitting at the back. So there are agents which are handling the more complex queries, which starts from where the bot has ended the conversation. So those kind of transition are possible now, and these are, I think, pretty much handled comfortably. So it's almost 70% of our calls are first handled by bots, and out of that, almost 10% are only handed to an agent. Otherwise, 60% of them are handled by the bots itself. And the beauty is, as you said, it starts from where the conversation was left by the customer.
So that's already happening.
Yeah.
Now, also touching upon a very important point when it comes to BFSI industry, right? We talk about customer loyalty and customer retention, right? For us, customer relationships, customer centricity is the backbone of our business. So what are some of the practices that are being done these days to ensure that customer centricity is at the forefront of all the initiatives? What are some of the agenda items for companies in insurance as well as in banking? I'd like to discuss that.
Sure. So the main focus for not just banking but any industry is customer retention, to have the customer in their platform. One big thing that now let's say, for example, I was saying my saving account is in one bank, but my credit card is in another bank, and then I also use UPI for my for buying vegetables or whatever. Now, if there was a way to integrate all of them in one app, there could be different organization, but as a customer, if I am finding one solution or one app where I can do all my transaction, I'll be in that platform. I will not leave that platform because it's easy. I will not leave that convenience. In that manner, I will proudly say that India is a pioneer. It has becoming a pioneer when it comes to digital transaction powered by UPI. That is something even I haven't seen anybody using UPI in US. That is something I tell all of my colleagues in US, that we have this kind of app. And now take example of an app like Paytm. It is not a bank. It is no more a wallet. It is just a platform. It is a the new term is coming, banking as a platform. Just like we had SaaS, we have VAS, now we have banking as a service or banking as a platform. Now, even though I don't have a bank account or I don't have a wallet in Paytm, I use it for everything. I use it for paying my electricity bill, I use it for paying my credit card. And beauty is that all my credit card of all different organizations, it has come in that one particular platform. So that is something even organizations, banks in US are trying to build, like super app, or trying to build banking as a platform, just so that all of their customer can do all their transaction from one platform. So that is a big strategy, something which is being used.
So if I talk about insurance, we experience two kind of customer, and these are two different set of customers. One set of customers still want to talk to people. They don't want to go to the digital mode, either on chat or a mail. They don't prefer that. They only want to have a call center number where they pick up and express their queries or grievances, whatever. So we have to be ready for that. We cannot abandon that mode as of now. And having said that, like the newer generation, the Z's and the Y's, they are more comfortable in chatting. So they want a number on which they can chat. Even if they open the website, you will see now almost all the websites have a chat bot. So it will immediately pop up and say, okay, can I help you? And so this generation generally wants to chat through that and have their conversations completed. We have to be ready for that. But as I said, at any point of time, if the query or the grievance is becoming complex, there has to be a seamless transition towards agents. That is two things. Plus, what else we are doing here is we have a separate section of agents who are handling our private customers. So where we have HNI customers, so there is a separate segment we have to cater for that, and we have a higher level of understanding and background of those agents is little bit different. To handle the HNI customers, they have to have more exposure how to handle the HNI customers, and because their queries will also be a different one. Maybe somebody is because we have insurance policies which are running across the globe. So somebody sitting in maybe US or UK, they want some treatment, they can call from there. So these set of people must be able to handle those kind of queries. So that is one thing. We also have a desk for corporate customers. So all our corporates like Siemens or the other corporate customers which we have a special desk for them dealing with only with corporates. So these are some of the mixes which we have to have in our call centers to be able to address all our customer base.
Now, I'm sure with that kind of segmentation, a lot of work must have gone behind it in identifying what could be the probable segments, what are some of the sentiments that need to be captured well. That is why you have different sets of call centers, right? And all of this is usually based on a lot of data about a lot of customer information. So in terms of customer data collection and also maintaining the privacy of customer information, where do you think are insurance companies standing currently? Also, I would also like to talk about the regulatory environment in terms of data protection, because if you're talking about innovative solutions such as customized insurance policies or insurance based on health trackers, right? So there a lot of personal information of the customer is something that comes into play. So how do we tackle that kind of a challenge today in the industry?
See, insurance was a latecomer in as far as collection of customer data, because it was not mandatory, unlike banking, which I think started some 15 years ago when banking was allowed to take KYC documents for the customers. It happened very late for insurance, as late as 23. So we are only 2 years old as far as collection of data, customer data is concerned, and we are still trying to make our systems ready for that, because the first year was only for new business, and this from second year started for renewals. So for renewals, we are only 1 year old as of now. In between, what happened, this DPDP Act, we all know, it's a very robust act which is coming up, and all the companies are gearing up for that. And there are a lot of restrictions in data sharing for that. As of now, whatever data we have for the customer is only our historical data based on all the conversations which we have had with the customer in past, at the time of onboarding or at the time of claims or at the time of any kind of endorsements if the customer has come back to us. These are the 3 touch points when customer come back to us. Otherwise, in general insurance, it's a 1-year policy. Customer either renews or moves out. So within that 1 year, we have only 2 events, one at the time of endorsement and another at the time of claims, if at all it takes. So these were the 2 events which we had in us, with us as a history of the customer. So we are only playing on the data which we have gathered till now, and with the advent of KYC now, there is a little more data which is coming in as far as a unique identifier of that customer. Otherwise, we were only getting the customer name and address. And we all know that our names are not so unique. So one name can have lakhs of combination permutations. So that's how we are right now. We are still keeping our fingers crossed and waiting for DPDP Act. Let's see what's in store for us, and we will build our systems and processes accordingly.
And And Surya, from your side, for
Yeah.
banking, how does
So the ETL process, that is data extraction, transformation, and loading, that has been a huge focus area for my current organization as well as many similar global banks. And now even banks in India, they are gearing up with new data centers. They are building new data lakes because they know that data is going to be the currency. And yes, there is a huge lot of data, the transaction data, customers data. Then organizations like me who are also into investment. So that data is also being used. And yes, the responsibility lies with the organization. Many banks have gone through multiple lawsuits where there has been issues with data handling, and that is why there is a lot of security, lot of governances, lot of checks, balances and in place. And we as employees, we have to go through severe trainings almost every 6 months. We have to do such trainings again on how we are going to handle the customer data. And even the privileges that we have or any employee have, that is created with layers of protection so that the data is not mishandled. So yes, I will say this is a big focus area, lot of effort, lot of investment. There are business groups dedicated for building the data lake and extracting. See, data itself is there are companies who specialize in this, but banks try to build this in-house. So the focus is building data lakes and then using those data to build proper reports. So yes, those reports are being used for building suggestive investment products, like instead of just suggesting somebody to, hey, just invest in this, building trustworthy products based on that person's financial aspirations and past data. That has been a big focus area, not just for my organization, but for many banks globally, and now banks in India are also gearing up for this.
And considering, Surya, I'm talking to you, I just cannot refrain from talking about AI.
Yes.
Right? So in banking, what is some of the magical stuff that's being done by AI? So I understand, of course, AI as an agent, but is there something being imagined as AI as a magician? Some things that can be done.
So the biggest problem or biggest risk that majority of the bank or finance institution have is fraud and risk. Yeah. And that is why AI is playing a big role of magician with respect to fraud detection. Now, it is not accurate, it is not 100%, but yes, it is much better than what it used to be before AI. Even if we are able to, let's say, stop at least 50% of the fraudulent transaction, that's a huge cost saver for us. So yes, when it comes to risk anomaly or fraudulent transaction detection, AI has been a magician. And with respect to, yes, we have been talking about chatbots, but a chatbot is also at multiple level. Like a chatbot can be just a vanilla chatbot where you just get some ideas, or can a chatbot understand regular English, which you and me can talk? And another point is, again, going back to the data handling. It is easy to handle structured data which you get in Excel sheet, spreadsheet, data which you get online. But some of the data which were, like we have receipts, when still there is a big, as he was telling, there is a big segment of customers who still like to come to the bank, still like to sign those receipts. So yes, handling that unstructured data, that is also a big area in which investments are going on. So the magic wand, I will say, is detecting fraud, handling risk anomaly, and building an intelligent chatbot. I will say human chatbot, as I was telling earlier, that if I ask the chatbot that what is my account balance, it will tell. But if I ask the chatbot how much money I have, it should be able to understand that. So that is something not all the banks have yet implemented, but they are aiming it, and they are very much positive that the way in which AI is getting more and more intelligent every day, it is going to be achieved very soon.
Yeah, the other day I was reading some article and it mentioned that in a few years from now, even your chatbots will start to have
Have
feelings,
feelings,
right?
yes.
Because right now it all feels very monotonous, but then with more learning and
No,
self-evaluation.
there are some conversation people have posted in social media where they have argumented with Chat GPT, or they are trying to ask some wrong question to Chat GPT, and it is coming saying that it is showing reaction just like a human would. And one person was deliberately trying to manipulate Chat GPT so that it will get angry, and it showed some reaction that it told that yes, I understood that you are which way you are going. So yes, that day is also not very far.
Great. So, Gaurav, from you, AI as a magician in the insurance industry, how do we
See, AI as a magician, we just saw the magic last week only, and what we have done is we have launched a agent assist AI. So all our call center, and we have a call center in Gurgaon. So all our agents used to face, I would say, technical difficulties in understanding some of the jargons and understanding some of the pain points of the customers when they were coming. And for every sort of transaction, they had to come back to an agent. So we have built a agent assist there, which is an AI, and which helps our agents to understand at that point of time what the actual customer is asking, and it also helps to give them the information. So on the fly only, they will get those pop-ups which guides the agent, the human agents, to close that query. So that's a new thing in the industry which we just launched. And right now we have done it for our claims queries. So our motor and health queries account for almost 30% of our call center footfall. And so we'll watch for it for around a month, and then we can launch it for the rest of the type of queries also.
Now, I think I'll get back to the original topic where we started from, operational excellence, right? Now, Gaurav, in your experience, right, in your company, in order to achieve the organization's goal, how far has digital transformation with a combination of operational excellence helped you achieve a business goal? I would, just want to understand maybe from an example, if you have from the recent past, that you can share with all of us to see, how has it really helped achieve business goals?
If I would say, just example which I just gave is also a business goal in order to how quickly we sort out a customer's query. So that was only one example. If I take you some time back, I think some 5 to 7 years back, when we were just hearing about automation and everybody was talking about automation. And a peculiar problem which we faced at that time is all the companies were making their systems equipped to handle the sales force at the front end. How can they issue the policies then and there? So that was one of the challenge with us also, and I think along with us, all the companies worked on it, and we wanted to make our sales force equipped to issue the policies at the doorstep. So then we came up with a unique idea of virtual offices. And in the virtual office, and that was a success which was even adopted by some of the other companies and some of the major players in the industry. So everything was on the tab. So it was office on the tab. We almost opened more than 1,000 virtual offices. And these were the people who were going to the customers, issuing the policies, issuing endorsements, taking their claims queries also. So that was one challenge, and it also helped grow up our business in the tier 3 and tier 4 cities. And right now, I think still there are some companies which are adopting that kind of, I came to know last week only, I'll not name the company, that they are closing their physical branches and moving towards these virtual setups. So what we started, I think now it is being widespread by the other companies. So it has its own benefits, but yes, there was a lot of hard work behind that. Yeah.
Yeah. So my organization, JP Morgan, it's a very big organization. So I will mention a couple of specific points which my business unit has done, which is corporate and community banking. And in India, our division, it focuses on the technology part of it. So one of the major initiative that we did was the way projects or products were assigned. Earlier, it was based on the technology capability, or let's say one new initiative has come up. So we decided to give it to a specific tech stack, or decided to give it to a specific team which we felt that they are great in this particular technology. But this year we did a little shift, and instead of giving this on the basis of technical capability, we divided the team based on the domain knowledge. Like within the specific banking application, there were different domains. So we divided that based on the domain, and that is something improved their predictability. And yes, implementation of Agile and Scrum and doing it the right way. Many times people say that, hey, yes, we are doing Agile, but they were not doing it properly. Like sometimes people will say that the Scrum stand-ups will go on for like 1 hour, or managers will say that, yes, we are doing Scrum, but they were not ready to let go of that command and control mentality. So coaching leadership on a proper mindset of digital transformation, that also helped. One more thing, it is very difficult to come up with numbers, but we also came up with org level GPT. That means we build our own chat GPT capability, because as a very very restrictive organization, it was not allowed for employees to use something like chat GPT, because it was very much open. So we build our own GPT capability, and that is something many people are using for, like, it's just like giving a free hand, like use it for anything that you can. We use it for writing user story, we use it for writing codes. I mean, it gives a starting point to start writing the code, and that is helping employees, everyone, and that has improved the overall org's goal in a much better way.
Just one example even I would like to add here, that in my organization, of course, the project that I'm talking about, it does not apply to India, but we're using a lot of digital innovation to be able to do compliance digitally. And now it has so happened that in that particular country, it's a mandate that while you're issuing an invoice, it has to be digital. You cannot have those, other manual invoices. So one, of course, it was some kind of a pressure from the regulatory body that it has to be done that particular way. And second, when we started working on a business case parallelly to understand the benefit that we're going to get out of it, it was just amazing. So, sometimes the pressure is also from outside in, rather than your team sitting and, talking about digital innovations. So just wanted to add on that. And then I think one final question that I'd like to take up here in this forum is, where do you see major change in the near future in terms of hyper-personalization? Considering we are in an industry where we deal with customers day in and day out, what do you think is going to be the epitome of hyper-personalization here on?
Okay, there are two things. One is, what are the next generation, and hyper-personalization. I will answer the first thing first. With a pinch of salt, I will answer this. So if you see, Uber as a company, it doesn't own any vehicle, but it is the biggest taxi fleet. It almost wiped out the taxi drivers or gave them a major threat. Same with Airbnb. See, what I'm saying, it is like almost everybody know, but it is worth mentioning because it is serious. Airbnb, they don't own any property, but they gave the hotel business a big threat. Google Pay does not have any physical bank, but now they are into payments. I won't be surprised if they launch their own bank. I think Paytm was almost on the verge of launching their bank, but they were not allowed to. So, no matter which business you are in, a tech giant is going to come and they are going to disrupt your ecosystem. So, the disruption is evident. So, be ready for it because it is going to come. So what I see in future is that just like any other business or any other domain, even banking or payment or finance, it is also going to be organization which are tech driven, or we already have fintechs, we already have things like Google Pay, who are already, who have taken the transaction market. So that is going to be the big shift. So unless before a tech giant comes and takes away your bank, you become so much, tech savvy, or you make your system so much tech enabled that nobody can take it. Talking about hyper-personalization, yes, AI has, I'm not saying we have reached yet. It's a work in progress where AI is going to suggest investment products. It is suggesting, but again, as I was mentioning earlier, that trust factor is still there. So still there is going to be a human intervention. And we have implemented, we have piloted the hyper-personalization in the credit card reward system. So whenever there are customers who are so JP Morgan credit card is not very easily available. It is a very invite only, at least in the US. So the credit card points, whatever points they get, the AI suggests them what is the best way to redeem those rewards. That is a very, very simple case of hyper-personalization. AI can do much better, and it's a work in progress, I will say.
I would say insurance, future insurance will be highly dependent on hyper-personalization because it's a predictive business. We have to make predictions while selling insurance. What is the nature of the customer? What is the risk appetite? What is the kind of risk that customer carries? So the technology which is helping us to do hyper-personalization will be very robustly, I would say, emerge in the future. And everything, if I talk about the entire journey of a customer, right from onboarding and from issuance of their policies and from claims, right now or maybe some time back, not right as of now, some time back what we were doing is all kind of risk analysis which was done for selling insurance was mainly based on geographies, a set of customers, a set of cars, or maybe the kind of cities which the customers come from. So the predictions or the risk analysis were made based on those backgrounds. But with hyper-personalization, maybe there is a customer who is living in a tier 3 or tier 4 city, but has a capacity or maybe risk prone to a customer which is residing from tier 1 city, and vice versa also. So with hyper-personalization, we can always predict the risk appetite, and we can always offer the right insurance product for that customer. And as we know, now we have specialized insurance products also. Like our company only has launched a specific insurance product for women very recently, and also for freelancers. So once we have those kind of insurance coming up, the hyper-personalization will be the need of the hour. It is also, as Surya said, it is WIP right now. I would not say that we are getting the exact output, but yes, as the systems are learning and becoming advanced, we are on the right path. And going forward, we are sure that whatever the insurance companies are offering will be based on personalization only.
And do you see any regulatory constraints around this, considering, I hear a lot about opt-in consent?
No, regulator in fact is keen to know the customer as of now. Unlike so many years in insurance, now the regulator is keen to understand what the customer needs. They are focused on collecting the customer data. They are focused on collecting the customer consent. See, consent is something which has to happen because regulations will be there, and we have seen the perils also. If anything becomes unregulated, we have seen the perils, how people have used the customer data. I mean, if you give your phone number in a Domino's outlet, it gets circulated across the country. So those kind of regulations are required because we are a growing economy, and there are bound to be repercussions. So I would not say that is something which we don't need. We certainly need regulations and strict laws for this, which the regulator is rightly doing so. And I think right now everything is running in tandem to make insurance and to make insurance a household product, and how to expand the reach. So right from the government, from regulator, and all the insurance companies are working towards that. Very recently, you may have heard that the regulator also come up with the Bima Trinity. So the three things which the regulator wants to do. One is Bima Sugam. That will be a digital platform where all insurance companies will meet, and all the, from onboarding till claims, all the processes have to be there. Then we have Bima Bahak and Bima Bistar. So I think we are on the right track, and regulator is helping us on that. Yeah.
So on this, I read a very interesting thing that Ping An, the Chinese insurer, is doing. So they have a dashboard for their customers, wherein they can go and check what all data of those customers is, being used by the company for any sort of analytics, and then they can either opt out of that data, or they can just give their consent to be, for that data to be used. So is any such similar practice happening in India? Because I do hear about, maybe, I'm not sure, banks or insurance companies have these data dashboards where people
We have a customer 360 with us,
okay.
wherein all the entire organization can view when the customer came on board, what kind of products that customer is having, what kind of claim experience is there. So we have customer 360 data. With Ping An, what happened is they were giving lot of other services with insurance. So they were also giving ambulances, they were giving doctor facilities. So they had built the entire ecosystem around insurance. So that's why they had to build that dashboard, so that the customer is able to view what, where my data is being used, and what kind of facilities which I am using as a customer out of the entire network.
Great. So thank you for that. I think we are being operationally excellent, and we've ended up right on time. Just one concluding thing that I'd like to mention, that this is my personal opinion. I feel that operational excellence is a very inadequate term. I think what we are heading towards now is more about cognitive supremacy, wherein we are talking about autonomous decisions being taken by AI, right? We're talking about predictive analytics coming into picture. We're talking about hyper-personalization. We're talking about dynamic pricing, or the entire ecosystem coming together for, a set of financial products. So maybe, when we have this summit a few years from now, we might want to rename it to a more, broader term, which has, a tinge of maybe technology.
You can do it next year. You can tell Imran. You can suggest the name to Imran.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you so much, Gaurav, Surya. I think it was lovely talking to both of you. And
Thank you so
for
much.
being a great audience. Any questions anybody has?
Right, I think this is for you, Surya. So you already alluded a little bit to how tech disruption will happen in the banking and payment sector. I was thinking of neo-banking and how it's changing the world, which you have initiated as the president of virtual first banks.
Yeah.
In terms of the Indian market specifically, in India, virtual only banking market is really working. In fact, we've seen an increase in the number of physical branches. What do you think the branch of the future will look like for an Indian bank?
I can tell only my perspective. I think complete virtual bank is something many brands were trying for a very long time and not being that successful. I think DBS is one of such bank. It is there in India. I'm not sure how successful they are, because I think it will depend on a culture shift. And I think couple of years back, nobody would have thought that we can get we can book a cab just by pressing a button, or we can book a hotel just by pressing a button, or even payments or transaction would be so easy. So we live in an era where like anything can be possible. You saw like COVID, during the COVID, so many disruption happened, and after that everybody has gone cashless. So what I personally believe is that it is going to be there, just that the organizations or the labels who are trying it, they need to understand the customers little better, or what is it they are doing which a traditional bank cannot offer. For example, if I want to switch completely to a different bank, why would I do that? Because the convenience factor is already there. My existing bank is already giving me that virtual facility without the risk of, I know that the bank branch is there. If there is any problem, I can simply walk out there. But the trust factor of having a complete virtual bank, where sometimes, let's say many times it happens that when I'm calling the bank, the customer service, it's not reachable. I can simply walk to the bank. I can't do that with the virtual bank. So that trust factor, if those virtual banks are able to bring or they are able to work on their USP, it is definitely going to be there. Because we live in an era of back-to-back disruption and nothing is impossible. So, yes.
Morning, I think Sandeep little bit talked about that. See, we are all organization are giving this personalization and chat bot. In fact, I sometimes get a little bit annoyed where I need something immediately, my credit card, because I am waiting for a transaction to happen and it is keeping me waiting, option 1, option 2, do this, and it keeps me made in rotate, and accidentally I go and talk to an agent. So there is a little bit, on like how the value translates into company top line, bottom line. Is there a kind of, when you give this facility, chatbot and personalization, hyper-personalization, does any, ROI analysis happen? Like, if I do this, if I invest my time, energy, if I put 5 people to work on it for next 6 months, how does it impact top line, bottom line? Is that done thoroughly, or it is like a perceived ROI, don't worry, let's work on it, it will come later? So what is your driving force to engage, to allocate your resources?
See, I think from morning there were a couple of discussion on ROI, and when it comes to any research initiative, coming up with a hardcore number is definitely not easy. But still, organization, they do invest effort, resources in anything new. For example, building the organization's own chatbot capability, it was a huge investment. And when the investment was started, we did not have a number that how much ROI it will give us. So now, even we don't have a hardcore number right now, but look at how it has disrupted. Like employees are saving almost 50% of the time in writing code. We don't have to, the sprint planning or the PI planning is something we have reduced to almost like 50-60%. So the main fundamental decision making thoughts, or the thoughts behind making a decision of any investment, it should not be the hardcore number, but the value. The value could be increase in efficiency. The value could be if you are able to detect a risk, and which later on could have been $1 million lawsuit. Some of the things I will say you cannot put a hardcore number, but to some extent it could be perceived. Let's say, take example, if you build a super efficient chatbot, you can reduce your L1 support to, let's say, 50% or almost 80%. I think many banks are already doing that. Going forward, many of such jobs, or it's a very tough call to say, but we may not need so many people. So yes, definitely there is, because organizations have seen the value. So even if they do not have a number, it is worth investing, I will say.
Thank you so much for the questions. If you have any more questions, please feel free to ask our panelists. They'll be here until the end of the session, end of the conference. Thank you, Surya. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, Ankita, for your time. As a token of appreciation, Ankita.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gaurav? Gaurav came down for this event from Pune.